What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Pretty Lies and Alibis. I'm Gigi Fruit Loop. What's your shirt say?
So, this is my proud owner of a wait. Let's see, go this way. Useless pancreas shirt.
That is
This is
so cute.
Diabetes Awareness Month, so
And I would just like to note when I came in here to start this, you were eating a big bowl of ice
I
cream.
was eating ice cream.
That's
Sometimes
all right.
you just gotta have something sweet.
Yeah, I get you.
I took a shot for it.
There you go. So we're just gonna real quick talk about our sponsor, Two Cool T-shirt Quilts. Look behind me. If you're on YouTube, you can see two of the awesome pillows that Andrea made for us. So it's not just quilts. You can get these pillows. You can get all kinds of stuff, memorial blankets. Christmas is going to be here soon, guys. So if you celebrate and you have to buy people gifts and you're tired of giving gift cards, give something personal.
Yeah, they're heavy duty and I don't even know the word. More
I
like
like them.
designer.
I
Like it's
use
not
them
your
all the time, though.
normal. Yeah, it's not your normal square T-shirt. Like the squares are different and
They're
everything. They
different
invented
sizes.
that, right?
Yeah, because that's gonna come in real handy when I do my kids' quilts. Because I have some onesies that are real small, and then I have, 8, 9, 10-year-old stuff. So I'm super excited. You can go to twocooltshirtquilts.com/pretty lies and alibis and check out what they can do for you. And what will they do, Fruit Loop?
They can take your T-shirts and make them into a quilt that is too cool.
There you go. So we want to give a big thank you to Gemma and Sherry for the donations. We really appreciate that.
Thanks, guys.
Helps us offset the cost of doing this because we do subscribe to different services because some cases you get the best news from paywalls and things like that. So anyways, I'm super excited. Tomorrow night I'm taking my girls to see James Taylor and Jackson Brown.
I love James Taylor.
Oh my gosh, yeah, I know every song of his, so I'm super stoked. We have really good seats and my girls love James Taylor, so
Yep.
I've brought them up on some good music. I think when I'm old and gone, my daughter, what was the best thing about your mom? I think my oldest will say she gave me good music.
Yeah, and she knows the stories behind each song.
She does. And
Yeah.
I'm like that too. Like I'm a big
Yeah.
lyric person, so lyrics really are my jam, and especially Pink Floyd because they're so deep. But anyway, so we're going to talk about the Dateline episode tonight. But real quick, we have an update on the missing person case, one of them that we did on Saturday.
Yeah, so the Noah Clare and his father Jacob Clare, there's an update saying that they may be in Michigan. And also his niece Amber Clare, she's missing from Beaver Dam, Kentucky, along with them, and she's believed to be with them. And a little bit of background on that, I think her mom caught some inappropriate texting or something between them two.
That's gross.
So, yeah.
So
So if
Michigan
you're in
people.
Michigan, yeah, or traveling through there, be on the lookout.
Yes, and you can go to our social media pages. We have pictures of all three of them. So check it out. Keep your eyes peeled. You never know. Could be you're the person that sees something and brings this to a close.
Yep.
So Shane Bishop, who I love, he is one of the Dateline producers. Anytime there is a Dateline on, you can go to on Twitter at Dateline NBC PROD. And what happens is during the episode, the producer for that one will tweet out little facts that didn't make it into the show. And every time they've done a special about this case, I've always learned a little nugget or two.
Yep.
Did you watch this one, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think the cool thing about this Dateline that aired this weekend is for those of us that know this case front to back, we learned a few things we didn't know.
Yeah. It was nuggets every
Yeah.
so often, and yeah.
So first, we're going to go through some of these Dateline producer tweets because if you're not on Twitter, you missed them. Some people posted them in groups, but not everybody's a member of these groups on Facebook. So he asked why they released all these files because it is a bit odd. Trial obviously hasn't happened, and there's a lot of information in these. I can't imagine Rob Wood was super happy that they dropped these because there are some things that are going to be relevant in this trial. But The Chandler public information officer said the release was due to the case being in the hands of Maricopa County Attorney's Office since spring of this year. Lori has been indicted by a grand jury here. It just took that long to go through all these files and redact them. It is a lot of files, y'all.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, a ton.
So we got to see Jerry and Bobby, which are two of Charles's brothers. I don't think they've really spoken publicly too much since this has happened. And they talked to them back in March of this year. So it's been a minute since they met with them. And I think it's really cute that Shane said they spent a lot of their time off camera calling each other ugly. And Shane said they were just a delightful pair and they definitely miss Charles. And I can imagine it. I can see the resemblance with Bobby and Charles a little bit.
Yeah.
They just seem very playful and fun. And Scott Michael was a childhood friend of Chad Daybell's, and he played in the NFL for the Dolphins, the Lions, the Ravens, and the Bengals. He was also on The Biggest Loser in 2014, and he said that Chad is average, or he was average growing up, and he compared him to Forrest Gump. He said he kind of built this character based around real events. And so now
he continues to do that.
Right. So not only, do I think of Chad when I watch Harry Potter now? It's going to be the same for Forrest Gump. Jeez, they're ruining all my favorites. I thought this was interesting. For just a minute, they had Jill Kimmel on, who is the sister of Jimmy Kimmel. And she was a friend of Alex's. She's also a comedian. So I kind of wonder if maybe that's not how they met, because Alex was a comedian, did stand up and stuff. Yeah. And she said she did have a little crush on him, but thankfully that went nowhere. So these are all still just the producer tweets, little tidbits that he threw in there. The Gilbert police reports say that Lori appeared in a normal state of mind with no mental distress. She's going to have dental distress when the veneers start popping off into Pokey.
Yeah, it's going to be bad.
Yeah. So anyways, a normal state of mind with no mental distress. An officer, however, described Charles as having a demeanor strange for a person in his circumstances. I didn't
see that. No.
I saw a guy who was pleading for help, and a couple of times you kind of see the officer sort of, I don't want to say grin, but you know how you can tell when somebody's just not buying something? Yeah. So anyways, when Alex was talking to the police after he murdered Charles, he said the phrase, "I feared for my life," which is something they teach in concealed weapons classes all the time. So it seems like he kind of used the phrase. And one thing too, I didn't know this, maybe I did, but Brandon chased the Jeep after he was shot at. It wasn't until the 911 operator told him to stop that he stopped.
Yeah, I didn't know that either. And I guess that's why because he said it was Alex.
Yeah, he recognized him.
Mm-hmm.
He recognized the Jeep.
Yeah. So Shane had the video of Melanie Pulowski's arrest for a year and a half before showing it.
That was new.
Yeah, and that was the teaser. Everybody was saying, because I know we shared it, and everybody was like, "Is that true? Is that true?"
Well, when he tweeted it out and I saw the picture, I literally thought, she's been arrested. Here we go. It's go time. She's been arrested. But then I saw the black top that she had because it was the same as in her mugshot. But so that you could tell it almost seemed like they weren't going to arrest her. But then eventually he said, "Well, we're going to go ahead and arrest you." It almost seemed like he brought her down there to talk, but I guess maybe her mouth got her in trouble.
Yeah. So there's been speculation that Melanie Pulowski maybe was trying to provoke Brandon at his parents that night. Some believe she had Alex along to do the same thing he did to Charles. And that's a possibility.
It makes sense.
Yeah. So Dateline verified Melanie and Alex came looking for Brandon at least 3 different times in Utah and Arizona. And she just thought she could walk into that garage.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, Lori helped raise her. And so in that video, I saw her trying to pull some of the same tricks that Lori pulled, such as, "Oh, I need a victim's advocate," which they offered to Lori. And we'll talk about in just a minute when Charles was murdered. Of course, she manipulated that situation. It didn't go so well for Melanie. They didn't buy it.
No. They've heard Zulema may have been married up to 5 times, but they could only verify 3. It was Chad who told Alex that Tammy's body was being exhumed.
Yeah,
Uh-oh.
it was.
Yeah,
So I didn't know that.
I
Sometimes you
didn't know
kind of
that.
sometimes you kind of feel like maybe you forget I know I forget little details along the way. I get
Mhm.
confused easily, and we definitely do on the show sometimes. So sorry, y'all, and thanks for pointing it out when we do.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's a big deal that Chad gave them kind of a heads up.
Oh, yeah. It was good to see Lauren and John from Hidden True Crime.
Yeah, they're awesome.
They're cool.
I
Yeah.
love their podcast. I listen all the time, and they just did a great job on
Yep.
that, and always have something interesting to say. So it was
Yeah.
just so good to see some fellow podcasters on there.
Yeah. Their breakdown and his psychology and all, the mental breakdown he does is always really good.
Yeah, well, he's a doctor. This is what he does. So Bobby Vallow said Charles would have done anything to make Lori happy, and you can definitely see that. I mean,
Mhm.
I don't know if how many people who would have been done the way she did him would still say, "Hey, I'm going to give you a house for rent. You can stay there." A lot of that, I think, was love for JJ, just to make sure he was taken care of. But yeah, you can see that just in what we know that he'd been over backwards to do
Yeah.
anything.
Yeah. Yep. There was a video. This was weird. There was that video of Alex playing with that little kid,
Yeah.
and he seemed like a natural, and it was just weird seeing him like that. And we know what he what he did.
Yeah, it was. I mean, you could tell he was having fun. The kid was having fun. I'm not sure whose kid that was, but it's just in hindsight when you know what he's accused or what we think he did, it's just unbelievable.
Yeah. This next one was the biggest one for me. Tammy confronted Chad about the affair.
Yeah, because I'm going to tell you, going through these documents, they really make clear that they never found any solid proof that she had received the emails from Charles. They couldn't find them in her email when they looked through. So there was no confirmation that she got them or she didn't. I'm thinking maybe her sister might have told them this or something because I don't think none of his kids have reached out to Dateline or they haven't been on. But that was a big deal. I have always wondered, did she really know before she was murdered? And I guess maybe she
Yeah.
did.
Yeah. The day Charles was murdered, they offered a victim's advocate for Lori after 30 minutes. And you can see in the video, and
Mhm.
John talked about it, how she just had them convinced that she was the victim.
Yeah, she's good at that.
Yep.
Professional victim.
Exactly. So they point out that in Alex's police interview, he doesn't say anything about staying to protect Lori. He said they were going to go do something the next day, which
Yeah,
is he lied. I mean, they both lied, but
right.
he said he was coming to protect her from Charles, and he's like, "No, we're just going to hang out the next day."
Yeah. Well, they didn't even ask him, like, "Were you going to protect your sister?" He said, "Well, why did you spend the night?" "Well, just to visit. We're gonna go maybe do something." And it's just totally different than what Lori said. It's just these little things.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sweet little lies. Fleetwood
Yeah.
Mac wrote a song about it.
Uh-oh. So they talk about eggs, and that's the street name for Valium or Xanax. And here's the text. We're going to go back and forth on the text that Alex and Lori had.
And this was the exchange, I believe, was the day that JJ was last seen.
Mm-hmm.
So this was at 8:55 in the morning. Lori texts Alex, "Hey, bub, go to LDS.org and watch the new Book of Mormon video. So good. Looks like you will appear in episode 2." And then she says, "P.S. Do you have eggs?"
At 9:48 a.m., Alex to Lori, "I'm open. How about you?"
Lori to Alex, "Me too. They are still in the bedroom, so not sure what their plan is, but they should be up soon." And I'm assuming she's talking about Melanie Gibb and David Warwick, who spent the night, and this is the day they left. So
Mm-hmm.
it seems like maybe like, okay, when are they going to get up and leave?
Yeah. So 10:21 a.m., Alex to Lori, "Okay, let me know. Do you want me to get eggs and bring them to you?"
Almost 2 hours later, Lori to Alex, "Come on over." Actually, 2 hours later, she says, "Come on over."
We know that if it was something questionable, she always called. I would
Mhm.
be interested to know if there was a phone call after that text.
Yeah, same.
So,
So, and then Lori says to Alex right after that, "Let's meet Chad at Terrestrial Temple in 20 minutes."
and then Alex responds at 12:14. Okay.
12:18, Lori says, "Are you ready to go?" So I've always kind of thought, I mean, I went very basic with this. I thought, well, she's got company staying. Maybe she's going to fry him up some eggs. Clearly not what she was talking about. And
Nope.
so another thing we learned was that Melanie Pulowski said that Brandon made up the attempt on his life. She said he was lying. And she said it was a plot against her. And she thinks he shot at his own car. And that's very much a play out of Lori's manipulation handbook.
Yep.
Blame somebody else. They're trying to set me up. They're after me. And I really do wonder at this point, is she thinking again? Is she thinking normal?
Yeah.
Because I always
I
just
don't
go
know.
back to that interview where she's so defensive of Lori and Alex.
Yeah. But I'm going to tell you, Brandon's 911 call, you can hear the seriousness.
Yeah, he's like out of breath. I would be too. But yeah, I mean, he's got 4 kids. And at one point, in this, we learned that Chad had told Melanie that her kids were going dark. So just crazy stuff. So they had Julie Rowe on, and she really didn't add a whole lot that we didn't know, but she did say that Chad had told her 4 times that Tammy was going to die. And I didn't know this. Alex was a massage therapist, but he lost his license years ago due to sexual misconduct.
No, not him.
I know. He seemed like a perv in a big way. So they shared a small clip of the phone conversation between Ian's wife, which is Melanie Pulowski's new husband, and Brandon. And if you remember, she had reached out to Ian because she was very concerned. Obviously, they have kids together. And he wore a wire and all that, but she pretty much told Brandon that Melanie had admitted to Ian that she knew about the plot to kill him.
That's why I still think charges are coming.
I do too. The investigation's open. Charles's murder investigation is still open. Chad was
Yep.
initially named on that, but they didn't. I don't know if maybe there just wasn't enough digital evidence to pin it to him, but it's still open. So we shall see. And then the last little bit, I loved this lady. They had the landlord
Yeah.
from Hawaii on,
Yeah, she was
and
funny.
she talks about how we know on the application they said they had no kids, no pets. And so she said she Googled Chad's name and found out his wife had just died less than 2 weeks before. So she starts asking a bunch of questions. Don't you think it's soon? Asking a ton of questions. So he didn't call her back.
Yeah, I think the one that he stopped texting or answering was, she said, "What did the autopsy results show?"
Oh, yeah. She was
Yeah.
awesome. Like, I don't know
Mhm.
her, but I would totally sit down and have a cup of coffee with her
Yeah, she
because she
seemed like a
seems
hoot.
awesome.
Yep.
And so I know we have a lot of new listeners from the Dateline episode. We got a few messages. If you're new to the show, you can go back from the time we started this case. We have so many episodes just on this case. So you got 2 hours is not enough to summarize this case. They always do a good job of piecing it together and kind of telling us where we are and how we got here and how it started. And it always blows my mind every time I see this laid out like that. We get caught up in the bits and pieces, but when you sit back for 2 hours and you watch the number of people that have been murdered, it blows my mind every time. But if you're new to the case, you can go back. We have a lot of episodes on these individuals, the group, just things that have come out along the way. So you can check all that out. Just scroll back through. Also on YouTube, we had a couple of people ask us to make a playlist for the Chandler documents. I've done that now. So you guys are set up over there, and that way all the Chandler documents will stay in one spot. This will go under the regular. But so that's kind of all that we had for today. What are we going to do tomorrow?
We are doing it just left me.
I'm going to do the Jeopardy music real quick.
It's that ice cream.
Josh Duggar. We're going to
Josh
update on some.
Duggar,
Yeah, we're
Yep.
going to update on some filings, both sides filing stuff in that case, going
Yeah.
to trial November 30th. And to me, it kind of seems like the defense getting a little nervous with some of the stuff they're asking. They're wanting to sequester witnesses and stuff. It ain't going to happen.
Yeah, that was weird.
I think his goose is cooked, and I'm here for it, y'all.
Also, right before we came on, wasn't there some new stuff in Wagner?
Oh, yeah, I got some filings, but
Yeah.
I haven't looked through them.
Yep.
So yeah,
Her.
so it's a crazy busy week for me. I appreciate you being flexible. We're having to kind of jump in when we can. It's just I'm trying to get my 87-year-old grandma's Christmas shopping done, my shopping done, and I just doctor's appointments and things I've put off of just this week are like whoop.
Hey, you just taking her to Hammocks.
And Kohl's, she loves Kohl's. She
Hammocks
needs a
and
picture
Kohl's.
up in Kohl's. And then
Yeah.
like tonight, my daughter has her night driving lesson. She's getting her license at the end of the month. I'm all over their social lives, everything.
That
I
is so
love it though.
scary.
It's all right. We have a good time in the car. We
Yeah,
sing and
it's scary.
people look at us like we're morons, I'm sure.
Well, they
Especially like
come
if we get
on.
into Bohemian Rhapsody. Last
Well,
time we were at a red light with that, people were probably like, those poor kids, crazy mama.
they came in there before we started, and they just grown.
I know my
They
babies are
grown.
getting big. My son has his
Yeah.
first girlfriend and she's super cute and her family's great. But it's just this different phase is starting with my kids and it's very bittersweet. I don't handle my babies growing up very well, but at the same time, they're, instead of being these little kids I have to go behind and make sure they don't do something stupid. Now they're my buddies and it's really cool. So we have a great time.
Yeah. So real quick before I forget, because I told this we have this elderly aunt that lives with one of our listeners, and she's just awesome. She listens to us all the time. Um, Her name is Kathy. So Kathy, we appreciate you
Hey, Miss
listening.
Kathy. Thank you
Uh,
for listening.
yeah, she's always checking to see what we got going on. So
Oh, that's so cool.
yeah,
I
yeah,
just wish we could like all get together, like
I
all of
know.
our listeners and hang out. That would
Yeah,
be so fun.
yeah, because they're all so cool.
I know. Well, Miss Kathy, you take care of yourself and we appreciate you.
Yep. I will say that our missing persons this weekend is going to be huge. It
Really
is, yeah, it's a big case.
awesome. I'm
So
excited to grow this. I think it's just awesome to get word out. And a lot of times, as we know, these things get buried in the news and they don't get coverage. And so we
yep,
just really feel good about what we're doing. And who knows, maybe one day one of our listeners will solve a case. That would
yep,
be amazing.
yep,
All right, guys, we are out of here. Hope you guys have a good rest of your Monday and check us out on social media, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, maybe setting up a Discord. Not sure. It's very much real time and fun, but I don't know. It's kind of like one more thing to keep
yeah,
up with. And because like our social media has exploded
yeah. It's hard to
and it's
keep up.
fun.
Yeah, yeah.
But boy, there's a lot of comments and I love them all. All right, guys, we are out of here. Have a good evening.